There's a Trumper in Tampa who owns a construction company called Honest Hammer, and he is all upset because his workforce is being deported. Now, he makes the claim, like a lot of Trumpers who actually get affected by this make, and that is, that's not what I voted for. This is not what I voted for. I voted to get out the criminals. No, this is exactly what you voted for, and now you're feeling regrets because you are personally being affected. You did not care who got wrapped up in a mass deportation. That's exactly what they told you at the RNC. Mass deportation. That's exactly what Donald Trump said over and over again, was deport these people. He lumped them all together. There was never a bucket of criminals and everyone else. It was always an everyone else is a criminal. That's what it was, to brand every immigrant, legal or illegal, as a criminal. He did not care how hardworking these people were or how much they contributed to society, and neither did you, Honest Hammer. All you cared about was that these people got deported, and as long as you and your staff were safe, because you thought maybe you could wield some influence as a white man, that you would be safe, well, guess what? You're not. And you are going to suffer the consequences of that. That's an FAFO, my friend. And it always takes until you get affected for you to understand the ramifications of your vote. So don't tell us that that's not what you voted for. That's exactly what you voted for. You just didn't think the consequences were going to come for you. So
I just need someone to explain something to me. I live in Alabama, and my utility bill usually averages between $200 to $250 a month. Can someone please explain to me how my utility bill went from $250 a month to $696?
Girl, did you say Alabama? You know exactly why your electricity bill is going up. Did you get this letter in the mail by chance? Yeah, it was sent to the residents of Huntsville, Alabama. It says that your electricity bill was going up because of Donald Trump. It has his name actually right here. Pretty clear, you know what I mean? It said, hey, he ended through executive orders, some federal grants that were lowering your electric bill. This is the best round of FAFO, and I wasn't going to ream you too hard, but then I went and saw your repost. You posted a lot of stuff from Little Human Being guy, you know, Charlie Kirk. A lot of Daily Wire stuff. A lot of Donald Trump thirst traps, if you will. It said, oh, I know exactly who you voted for. You're the perfect candidate for this video. This is a result of what you voted for, honey. This is a thoughts and terrorist, tater tots and chairs kind of moment. I just want you to enjoy and soak that all in. Take it all in. This is what you voted for.
So let me get this straight. Your dad is a Latino with 6 months left to live, and now that he's been picked up by ICE on the orders of Trump, which, get this, you are a Latina and you voted for him. Now your dad's going to spend the last 6 months of his life either in a cell or deported. And now you come on TikTok talking about unity. We need to have unity. We need to come together as a community. Why your ass ain't come together at the polls? Why you ain't come together at them polls, mama? You said that you didn't educate yourself on the immigration policies. That is literally the main point that he ran his entire campaign on. There's literally no way that you could have missed that. It's literally not possible. And then y'all come on here and y'all want people to have sympathy for y'all. Sympathy for what? You ain't have sympathy for the other immigrants that you wanted to get deported when you cast your vote? You just thought your dad was going to be the exception, huh? I don't know. Shit like that really get me irritated because, you didn't have sympathy for all the other people and all the other minorities that were going to be affected if he got into office. But as soon as one of the people who voted for him actually starts getting affected in real life, now I want to come on TikTok talking about we need unity. Fuck y'all.
Trump supporter, I vote for Trump. They just got out of the car with the guns in the hands and say, turn off the car. And then he put the handcuffs on me and said, how did I get into this country? And he looked at his other partner smiling, saying, can you believe this guy? At this point, I was with handcuffs sitting on the sidewalk. And then he took my ID and saw that it was a real ID. The other guy said, take the handcuffs off, take the handcuffs off. I was Trump supporter, I voted for Trump last elections, but because I thought it was going to be the things, just go against criminals, not every illegal Hispanic looking like that they will assume we are illegals.
This guy seems like a nice guy, so I almost feel bad for you. I almost do, but I don't. Because with the privilege of the vote comes the responsibility to know what the fuck you're voting for. I mean, he telegraphed exactly what was going to happen. And they're not done. You got 4 more years in here. He's gonna come after you, come after your family, your children, your nieces, your nephews, your parents. This is where you find out. This is where we all find out. How the fuck did you not know?
Meet Chris Wright. He's a single father of 4 boys along with a dog, and he's a recipient of low-income housing benefits from the Housing and Urban Development Department. And right now, he's actually really concerned with the current administration's proposals that would limit low-income and Section 8 housing recipients to 2 years of benefits.
Chris, his 4 boys, and dog Nook live in Dillingham Heights. It's overseen by Housing Authority of Richmond. Wright is watching the news about the proposed rule by HUD and the Trump administration that would limit people in Section 8 and low-income housing to 2 years of assistance.
And if he did that, and if I was limited to 2 years, it would devastate me and my children. It would devastate us. I mean, there's no question around that. And I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Trump fan. Well, obviously, there's been things that's been going on that's brought that into question.
And as you just heard, he himself voted for the current administration that is doing these proposals that would potentially limit his housing benefits. Because to absolutely no surprise, he voted against his own interest. And not only did he just vote against himself, he voted against his 4 sons as well as his dog, who pretty much had no say in the situation. And just for a little bit
Latino Americans claim that they are voting for Donald Trump. So welcome to my YouTube channel, and everyone who is watching my videos, all my subscribers, the ones who ensure that they comment. It was amazing having you here. So recently, we have been receiving hateful MAGA Republicans comments in this channel. That means that we are doing something great, and let's continue with that spirit. The journey to the midterms is long, and the body might be willing to stop, but let the spirit strive on towards the end. So let's continue watching, and I'll be making my conclusions at the end of this video.
This Latino is very upset. That's because he voted for Trump, thinking, as he says, that the Trump administration was going to be better for our economy. The problem is, he's a business owner. He owns a detail shop. And 100% of his clientele are Latinos. Latinos are the ones affected by this administration, whom he voted for. Classic FAFO. Because he voted Trump thinking that Trump was going to save somehow with a magic wand the economy. But his clientele is primarily Latino. How are you going to vote for Trump knowing that Trump is going to come after your whole clientele? So now he comes to TikTok with sobbing eyes saying that with a heavy heart, he's going to shut down his business because no Latinos are bringing their vehicles to get them detailed because they can't get out of their house afraid that ICE is going to come get them. My question is, did you think this through, sir? Did you think this through? You're a business owner. 100% of your clientele is Latino, and you're going to vote for the one guy that's going to destroy your own business. So I'm going to hold a moment of silence because his business is shutting down. He says that in 60 days, he's not had one client bring their vehicle to get a detail. No, they're not. They're not, because they're too afraid of leaving their home. Yeah, they're afraid. They're looking over their shoulder because of people like you. Yeah, see? So you want Latinos to be hurt by this administration, but you still want them to come and serve you and help you grow. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I'm going to hold a moment of silence for you closing your business, sir. Anyway.
I will still talk to you at work if you ask me a question. I may still laugh at a joke you say that I find funny. I will probably say hi back if I walk by you. But understand this, if you voted for Trump in the 2024 election, you voted against my wife, my daughter, my friends, and millions of other Americans in this country. We will probably never be friends. We won't hang out. You will not be part of my circle past what is required by living in the same country. I know you have the right to vote for whoever you want, and I know you have your reasons. I know that when money is tight and you can't afford the basic things, it's easy for you to care about nothing else but that. I know that your religion may be everything to you, and that Trump and the GOP and your church told you exactly what you wanted to hear. I know that true empathy and compassion for all is something that most people don't do well, through no fault of your own, really. We live in a society that teaches inward, not outward. But I'm gonna give you a reality check. I don't care. Millions of people in the trans community are being told that they are mentally ill or mutants or worse just because you don't understand how they can be in the wrong body. And honestly, you don't care. We have people right now who align themselves with the party that was made famous in 1930s Germany, that did unspeakable things to millions of people, walking around loudly and proudly and freely in places like Michigan and Ohio. There are millions of women in this country that are afraid to get pregnant thanks to the laws that were passed because of Donald Trump. You showed ignorance to who Trump was, what he did, and the real world results of what Trump wants to do in this term. You called people that voted for Kamala Harris horrible things for the last 2 years. And now some of you think we'll just go back to the way things were. Things will not, cannot go back to the way they were before Donald Trump came down that escalator in 2015. Can we in the future find a way to coexist? As long as you choose hate over love and money over morality, I don't see a way forward there. Whether by voting or potentially not voting at all, you got what you asked for. You got who you voted for. And now you are going to have to accept the results of that choice.
Some people aren't going to like to hear this, but that farmer guy in Missouri, Skylar Holden or whatever, who lost his farm, voted for Trump, and now he is maybe not regretting his vote, but he's having conversations, he's digging into things, he's doing his research, he's finding primary sources, he's asking how to educate himself, he's engaging with comments about, other political things like racism and expressing interest in learning. Those are the people, if you are a white person, if you have the energy to do it, and it's not going to make you jump off a bridge, those are the people that we need to be having conversations with. We do not need to be purity testing them. We don't need to have a gotcha moment. We need to find points of connection and communication, and we need to lean into that to fix problems together. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care if that guy is pro-life. That is not my battle with that person or that type of person. I started learning about racism, classism, ableism, transphobia, all of the isms after I learned about feminism through a very, third wave white feminist lens, and I connected with specific parts of that movement that exposed me to other movements of fighting oppression. We need to find the way in with these people who are experiencing this for the first time, even if it's very frustrating because we've known this whole time that this is going to happen. We need to find those points of connection, and we can work on the other things later. Again, I'm specifically asking white people to do this work, especially if you have intersecting layers of privilege. Like, I'm cisgender, I appear to be straight, and so they will take me, people like that will take me a lot more seriously than they would take, a more visibly queer person when they're having those conversations. So if you have the privilege, you need to be putting yourself, in the front, just like we do at protests, to be having these conversations, even if they're incredibly frustrating and difficult to have sometimes, because that's the only way we're going to get out of this giant fucking shit show.
You think that MAGA Republicans deserve what they voted for? Tell me in the comment section. I would like to hear your thoughts, because as I usually say, choices have consequences, and there is always a price to be paid.
Donald Trump and his team is seeing exactly what merit means and realizes that, we're not going back to the field. Now he's trying to butter up the immigrants with all this, they're valuable people, they cannot be easily replaced. You damn right they can't. And for surely they cannot be replaced with some of the most educated group of people in the world. I don't know too many black people, honestly, that don't have a degree. And you thought we was going back to the field? I've been making 6 figures working remote for so long, I'll be fucking damned to ever go back to a field job. You think I'm about to go pick onions? Oh, you learning now? That's why I wasn't even bothered when they was doing all them campaigns talking about, they taking black jobs. They taking black jobs. Black jobs ain't never been took. We always had a job. We didn't always had a job. Who black and don't work? We always got a job. But baby, they find it out.
I've seen other creators preach that we need to stop going so hard after MAGA, and people like those farmers, like the ones in Arkansas, and we need to bring them back. That's the only way we're going to create class consciousness to be able to do this whole thing. And to that, I say, forget that. I am not about that life right now, because people like the farmers in Arkansas and anybody else who's been affected and say they regret their vote of Donald Trump or are upset that they're feeling the effects are only because they are now being affected. It is a selfish position that they find themselves in. They did not care and they have no remorse. They only are sad and feel sorry about the fact that they are feeling the consequences of their action. This is not some come to Jesus moment. This is not an about face. They're not realizing anything. There's no epiphany. And you know how I know that's the case? You know how I know 100% that is the case? Because the farmers did this last time. They did this last time. Trump put tariffs and they got slammed and they needed subsidies and they needed to be bailed out. It's the exact same thing. And guess what they did? They voted for him again in 2020 and they voted for him again in 2024. So fool me once, shame on you. I'm not gonna fall into this trap where I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, come on in, guys, because as soon as they get back on their feet, as soon as any of these maggots and any of these farmers, anybody else who voted for Donald Trump get back on their feet and way of life gets back to being stable, they're going to turn again on people of color, on the trans and gay community, and anybody else they see lesser than themselves. They are going to turn tail immediately and go back to their old ways. They were taught their lesson and they didn't learn it. It didn't sink in. So why should I be here after three times of Donald Trump running and me being on this app and thousands of other people saying things on social media over the years about how awful Donald Trump is and how he should never get your vote again. And we watched an insurrection. And now because your family farm might close, because you got detained by ICE, because you got fired from your job, because you're finding out that grocery prices aren't going down, I'm supposed to welcome you back into the fold? I don't think so. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, but I can't imagine that I am, because it is too many times you've had chances to vote against Donald Trump and you've chosen that horse every single time. You made the bed, now lie in it.
So, thank you for everyone who is watching my videos, and everyone who watches my video, and those who ensure the comment. And if you have watched this video to the end, you mean a lot to me. So, Maga voters are now regretting their votes, from ranchers, from the elderly, from what? Name them. They want to rectify their mistakes. So, Democrats who are on this channel, will you be ready to invite them back? Because what they have seen is Trump, the scammer he is, and we want them. We're really trying to warn them. Trump was a scammer. Trump was a con artist. Trump was impeached twice for a reason, you know. So they voted for a guy who wanted to tear our country apart, you know. If you follow the news, or if you are well informed, you know about G6, all about it, you know. Trump tries to deny it. Trump tried to deny it, you know. He said, I tried to set the National Guard. You know, I asked the likes of Nancy Pelosi, Jack Schumer, you want the National Guard? If Trump wanted to deploy the National Guard during January 6th, he will do so the way he did recently. So Trump is a low IQ individual. And this tells us a lot about MAGA Republicans who are hoodwinked by Donald Trump. Because I usually see them claiming that Trump is against the system. Trump stands against the system. But when you follow Trump back in the 2013s, back in the days, he used to fund politicians. Trump used to fund politicians. So when you see that Trump is against the system, Trump is the system. Because if Trump isn't part of the system, he would release his tax returns. Right? Tell me in the comment section. Why did Trump release his tax returns back in the days? Why? Because he used to cheat the system. Because he is part of the system. So Trump is the corporates. Trump is the landlords. You know, Trump is a billionaire. Trump doesn't know about our struggles. What goes on with the common United States citizen? Trump inherited 400 million from his father. Went bankruptcy. How many times? Tell me in the comment section. And literally, this is the guy who 27 million MAGA Americans trusted with the destiny, with the economy, with the systems, with our military, with our borders, with our what, with everything. This country has had for 250 years is under Donald Trump. So what I usually say, it's a sad state we have as a country, and I would never blame Republicans. I would blame the majority Democrats who didn't come out to vote, the silent majority. We are the majority in this country, but yet we can't win the presidency, the Senate, the House. We lost control. Why? Mobilization. A state like Pennsylvania, Georgia, those was those were Democrat states, but mobilization made us lose those states. Tell me why an 84-year-old Republican is out to vote and 20-something-year-old Democrat can't vote. Why? A state like Texas, Democrats are the majority, but guess what? The Republicans are trampling us down there. Why? Tell me in the comment section. So until the midterms, I'll be using this channel to mobilize Democrats to go out and vote. That's the only message I'll be having in this channel, and blaming Democrats who don't vote. So what I usually say: watch blue, listen blue, talk blue, vote blue. And until the next video, thank you for your attention to this matter.